Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Tam McManus are here with me. Looking forward to the weekend's Scottish Premiership Football Championship, League 1, League 2. Small matter of two semi-finals for the women's game as well that we'll be discussing, getting the thoughts of the guys here as well. Let's hope they get a big crowd for that. We'll look back at the European games this week and also cast our eye over the English Premier League. It's an action-packed show, really looking forward to it. Thanks very much to James, who sent us a little message saying, "Hi Peter, could you give the two Highland League teams, Brecon and Buckie Thistle, a mention? They'll play in a league decider. Buckie only 1 point the difference. It's winner takes all, and both sides have only lost 3 games between them in the league all season." And he says, "Thanks for the daily hour of laughs that I enjoy. The smirk from Ruffy and McManus is brilliant. Keep it up." And by the way, he says that tackle from Shinnie was a great one. He won the ball. So well done to you, James. Everybody's had their say on it. You might as well fire it in as well. Quick quiz question, then we'll get into the main topics of discussion, and with Champions League in mind, who's the third top goal scorer in Champions League history? We all know the top two have just been blistering in their form over the last decade and beyond. Who are you going for?
Raúl.
Oh, that's who I was going to go.
You're going to go Raúl as well? Yeah. Okay, Raúl it is for the both of you.
I'm really angry now because he just keeps copying everything. He's copying my predictions, now he's copying my answer. He's a horrible man.
Any other name?
Stop it. Pick somebody else.
Do you know? Benzema.
Okay, there you are.
I think right.
So that was a good guess, Ruffy.
Nevertheless, better than Raúl.
Yes, better than Raúl. Anyway, we'll give you the answer at the end of the programme. Thanks to everyone for joining us and hitting the subscribe button as well. We really do value your support. So as James mentioned there about the Shinnie tackle, Aberdeen's request to the SFA for the red card appeal to be heard again by a new fast track tribunal, well, that's been dismissed. He's going to miss the 4 games in the Scottish Premiership. And I think Aberdeen obviously trying to put out there the message, Barry Robson saying that they're not trying to work the system, they're an honest club, but they are going to try and seek the council of other Premiership clubs to look at this and try and get the rules changed. That for me, I think Aberdeen might have dragged it out too long in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, they have every right to ask all the other clubs, and I'm always of the thought that if you want to change the rules during the season, you do it at the beginning of the season. If they want to do it at the beginning. We can get it done and dusted, so we're not having this. They have every right to, complain about it, but they know the rules. They know if it's a frivolous complaint, you're going to get an extra game. So they can't come out and say, "Oh, we're unhappy about the other game," because it's in black and white. You're going to get it if you don't win your case. So, they have to take the consequences and move on.
It's not the first time. Aberdeen are not the first on. Never mind.
I think Ryan Porteous has been done with it.
Well, take out the equation of working the system, Tam, as well. I mean, it's just a case of, as Ruffy says, you know the rules at the start. There's no point in bleating on about it during. You have to take your punishment. You've made your appeal. You've lost it. You can't suddenly start saying, "Well, we're not happy with the result. Change the jury." Doesn't work.
No, that was ridiculous. That was never going to happen. The SFA weren't going to go and go against the actual current panel. They bring another panel in, so that was never going to happen. Listen, I think that's it now. If Aberdeen leave it at that and SFA leave it at that, I think it'll blow over. But I think if Aberdeen keep picking away at it, then there could be some substantial fines coming their way. So I think they've just got to go on with it, Peter. Everybody's had their say. I think the majority of people think it was a red card, and the majority of people thought it wasn't going to win their appeal. So. Listen, they've just got to get on with it, and they've got some big games coming up. He's a big player for them, obviously, as a captain, but I'm sure they've got another player in there who can come in and fill in.
And the reason the SFA did it, because teams were working the system. There were teams going into cup games, and they knew that a player, if he was up in the disciplinary at a specific time, that they were going to get that. So they know when they complain, it's harder to. There has to be certain.
I don't think it was.
There has to be certain people for certain organisations.
It wasn't a frivolous appeal, but was it? It wasn't a frivolous appeal.
Well, it's an appeal. You take your chance, But what they do is, I'm quite happy with the SFA, but fast tracking it. Because the fast tracking deal with it right away, and then that's out the road rather than waiting.
Well, let's move on. He's not playing, so Aberdeen are going to have to get on with it. We'll talk about Aberdeen against Rangers. We'll hear from Michael Beale and Ange Postecoglou ahead of those matches. And of course, we'll hear from some of the managers who know what's at stake as far as this weekend before the split, because we've got Hearts, St Mirren, Hibs and Livingston, all with something really to play for. This is one of those days, if you're a fan and you're at the ground, you're listening to the radio just wondering what's happening elsewhere in the race for top six. And we know the financial rewards here. 4 clubs fighting for 3 positions, and of course at the bottom end as well, it's getting hypercritical. So there's a lot to play for in this weekend's matches. And first and foremost, how are you feeling, Hibs? What's your gut feeling on this?
Listen, I fancy them beat St Johnstone. I think they'll take care of business themselves. I know they've got the safety net of possibly Dundee United doing them a favour. But you know, I think they'll take care of St Johnstone. I've not been impressed with St Johnstone in recent weeks. They'll be hoping to get a new bounce off the manager, a la Kettlewell and Robson. They'll be hoping they can get some similar bounce from that. But I think if Hibs play the way they played last week, same intensity, you know, same passion, same quality, then there's only going to be one winner. I read that Hibs are taking 3,000-4,000 up there as well. So massive travelling supporting them, and I think they'll go up there and beat St Johnstone.
And let's not forget, you know, Hibs are still in that battle. They'll look and they'll say to themselves, they've got that little mini battle. Yes, want to be in the top 6. Then they're thinking to themselves, we could catch Hearts.
Yeah, but they've got to get there first. A lot of pressure in the game. You know that they will be encouraged by that result last week, and they've got there with the support right behind them, rather than the support, you know, moaning and groaning. You know, but it does remain to be seen whether Tam sticks to his guns, that if they don't get in the top 6, the manager has to go.
Yeah.
He's fallen into my trap now. He's been sitting on this couch too long listening to me saying people are going. But it'll be interesting, he might change his mind.
Well, if they don't make top 6, does he go?
I think there'll be calls for him to go.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think the result last week against Hearts maybe buys a wee bit of time.
Yeah. Monday?
There'll be a lot of Hibs supporters just think, nah, get him out.
Yeah.
But I think the performance last week and the result.
What do you think, Tam? If he doesn't make top 6?
If he doesn't make top 6, I think he's going to be under serious pressure for his job.
No, we know that. We just want you to try and adopt the non-Ruffy stance.
I think he'll get the sacked.
Yeah. Do you think he should get the sack?
Yes.
Right, okay.
I think he should. Because for me, it's in this season of all seasons, for Hibs not to get in the top 6 would be, I think it'd be embarrassing for the club and the fans. So the result last week took a bit of pressure off him, took a bit of heat on him, but it's right back on next week. He's got to win. They don't need to win. They just need to get in the top 6 somehow.
Okay, he said that. We just kind of allured him into it because everybody hates him at the moment. We thought we'd pile in.
Yeah, I thought that.
He's on the witness. He's on the witness.
Fans hate me, Rangers fans now, Hibs fans.
Yeah,
what else you want to add to that?
He's in the witness protection scheme.
The Hearts fans like you.
Exactly. No. Listen, never mind the manager. This is the time when, of course, lots of fans are looking and wondering, okay, if we get top 6, manager's next bit is trying to build the side, and some players will not be there. Lee Johnson doesn't think Kevin Nisbet will be there, and I don't think there's any great surprise at that. They want to get some money in for him, yeah?
Yes, I don't think Kevin will sign a new deal at Hibs. You know, I don't think he's wanting to do that. I think he wants to go. I think he went to Millwall and didn't fancy it. I think he's in good form at the minute. He's playing well. I think there'll be bigger clubs in Millwall in for him, bigger money. Maybe even Celtic Rangers having a sniff at him again as well. So I think he's capable of stepping up from Hibs. He won't be signing a new deal, so Hibs have got to sell him in the summer and maximise the money they're going to get for him.
Yeah.
What would they get? What happens if he's out of contract?
Well, he's got a year left, I think, in the summer.
Has he got a year?
Yeah, so he's got his last year. So the longer that runs down, the less money you're going to get. So they've got to sell him in the summer.
Yeah.
Got to.
Can Stephen McLean stop the rot at St Johnstone?
I don't think so. There's no evidence. I don't think him personally is going to do anything different for Callum Davison. Okay, he works with the players as well, week in, week out. So really is. He's the assistant manager. So if Callum Davison goes, he possibly should have gone as well, because he is the coach. You know, and he's part and parcel of what's happening at the club just now. I don't think he'll have done enough in a week to sort of save them. So I'm like Tam. I think Hibs will win the game, because St Johnstone just seem to be all over the place just now.
Yeah, okay. I've got St Johnstone 0, Hibs 1.
I've got 2-0, I think, 2-0.
3-1 Hibs.
3-1 Hibs. Okay, so he'll be in the job and he'll be building for next season.
Yep.
Despite what Tam mentioned there, I think it all looks rosy there. As far as the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, of course, Celtic 12 points clear. Before Aberdeen and Rangers lock horns, they could be 15 points clear. Celtic taking on Motherwell, and Ange Postecoglou has mentioned, Ruffy, that Cameron Carter-Vickers trained all week. He'll play tomorrow against Motherwell. However, Hatate and Abada, they've trained but won't play in tomorrow's game. He hasn't mentioned Jota, but of course there's something at stake for them, Celtic, as far as winning the league, winning it by obviously as many points as they possibly can, and of course the goals, which is something that excites the Celtic manager.
No one ever does not enjoy a goal, even the most scrambling of, sort of ugliest of goals still gets celebrated. So I love the fact that, if there's one sort of record I'll be most proud of, is if we can score more goals than have ever been scored before by the football club, because I know how much joy that's brought everybody, players, everyone involved,
Yeah, Brendan's side in the Invincibles scored 106. Celtic are currently on 102 in the league, so I think they're odds on to break it.
Possibly tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they will tomorrow. I think Motherwell are, although not good last week, but I think they've been reasonable. But again, it'll just be, damage limitations. I can't see Motherwell going there and hurting them at all. I think the other game that you did miss out was the semi-finals coming up, and every Celtic player will want to be part of that semi-final team. So the guys that do get a chance to go in there will be out to impress, and that's another reason why they'll hurt Motherwell. And I think Celtic will win quite easy.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Stuart Kettlewell is well aware that Celtic could go, as Ruffy suggested, on a goal-scoring spree.
I've played against top teams in the past that get their nose in front and take the foot off the pedal and maybe don't sort of put teams to the sword. The energy levels can drop out. That intensity to go and score goals maybe isn't quite there if you're ahead in the game. I see a different version now. I see a Celtic team that when they score one, they want two. They get two, they want three. You look at the style of play. You look at the application of the players.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Motherwell obviously no chance of getting into the top six, and I think Stuart Kettlewell will be applauded at the end of the season for getting them away from what looked as if it could have been a relegation dogfight with Stephen Hamill in there, but they made the change at the right time.
Yeah, they did. It's been vindicated that they made the right decision. Stephen unfortunately couldn't get a tune for whatever reason out the players. He'll be seriously frustrated when he sees the run that Motherwell have been on after he's left. It's the same squad of players, but sometimes it can be different training, different voice, whatever. You just get a spark from somewhere. But I think Celtic win this comfortably. As Ruffy said, there's semi-final places up for grabs. I think he'll rest players. Everything's on the game the following week against Rangers. I think they'll go out and they'll cruise the game. 102, they're 4 points behind Brendan Rodgers' team. I think they'll equal it, and I think I'm going to go for 4-0. Yeah,
I've got 4-0 as well. What have you got, Ruffy?
3-0.
3-0. Okay, I think it's going to be a goals fest in that match. So what do you think? Give us your thoughts on Ange Postecoglou. What players should he rest ahead of that big game against Rangers in the semi-final, as Tam alluded to? That really kind of determines Rangers and summing up their season, whether they're going to have the chance for silverware. The winner of this game, I think we all look at it and think the winner of this one will win the Scottish Cup. No disrespect to the two teams, Falkirk and Inverness, who are battling it out in the other semi-final, but the strength of Celtic and Rangers will surely deliver the Scottish Cup. Could it be a treble winning season for Celtic? Rangers up at Pittodrie against a rejuvenated Aberdeen side who want to make sure they finish as the third force in Scotland. They've had their problems with this whole Graeme Shinnie affair that's just dragged on all week, but they've got to try and refocus. There will be a sense of injustice. They've got to focus against a Rangers side that really want to try and finish this season as strongly as they possibly can.
Just like the semi-final, Rangers need to go into this semi-final and a win. They need to go in with their fans right behind them and nobody moaning or complaining about, that Celtic won another league. They need to be firing on all cylinders. They need to go up there. We always know it's going to be meaty up there. It's going to be a right battle. you know, but I still think Rangers have got the quality in the team to go up there. I don't think it'll be an easy win for them, but I do think they'll win in the end, and I think I've went 2-1 Rangers.
Yeah, Connor Golson, Ryan Kent, Ryan Jack, Antonio Cholak and Ridvan Yilmaz will all miss tomorrow's game. I thought I'd say that after Ruffy made his prediction, just to put him on edge. What about that Rangers camp? What's the manager's thoughts ahead of this one? Adam Binney was out there to find out today.
Thanks, Peter. I'm at the Rangers training centre this afternoon to speak to Rangers manager Michael Beale in advance of his side's trip to Batodry to face Aberdeen on Sunday. In that match there will be no Aberdeen captain Graeme Shinnie. That's because he received a red card in last Friday's match against Ross County. The club, of course, did not agree with the decision and chose to appeal his ban, but in doing so the ban was actually increased by the SFA from 3 matches to 4, and Rangers manager Michael Beale believes that clubs should not have extended bans for simply asking a question.
Not seen the challenge, not going to pull away from that. I haven't seen the challenge, but what I would say is that I don't like this idea that you ask a question and then you get more. You know, the ban's the ban. You know, you're allowed to ask the question. I don't think you should be penalised more for asking a question. That seems a little bit harsh to me. I wouldn't want that for one of my players, for example.
The manager's personal Instagram posts have caused a bit of a stir on social media this week. He was pictured in Rome and then previously, just a couple of weeks ago, in Barcelona as well. When quizzed about that today, he insists that those trips were for business and not for leisure.
No, I've not been on holiday. Obviously, I've been off working for the club and doing my job and off watching games. We played Saturday, which is nice. When we play on a Saturday, it gives me a chance at this stage of the season, when it's Saturday to a following Sunday, to go out and maybe meet some contacts or watch some games. And yeah, that's what I was doing.
Well, I think he's making the point there also that if he is going out to watch games, he's going out to watch players. And, you know, I think the big criticism, I don't know whether it's a strategic move on that, but the big criticism has been, you know, for many managers, do you actually watch some of the players that you're actually signing?
Well, there's no question that Michael Beale is at the minute. He's not got director of football in there. I heard them talking the other day that John Part's helping him, which is fantastic. Listen, we all know how John Part eye for a player. You know, he's top notch. I think him and Michael Beale have got a close relationship, so I think that Michael will be going to watch players maybe with John Part at his recommendations. So listen, I've got plenty of eyes and ears in it, Rangers. You know, it's not just a manager. They'll be getting people together and getting through players. So I personally, if I was a manager, I'd want to go and see a player. I couldn't sign a player having not seen him maybe 2 or 3 times and watched him live. You know, a lot of managers have got directors of football and they maybe put a player to you and you have a look at it. So, but I think in terms of Michael Beale, there's no question that the players that Rangers are bringing in this summer are Michael Beale players. He's going to watch them, he's signing them.
Yeah, especially in a situation where you've got a specific style of play, Ruffy. You'll want to have a look at these players and say, can they play the way I want this team to play?
Yeah, as Tam said, there'll be agents phoning all the time. He's already went on record saying he's going to bring in 4 or 5. So the agents out there are going, here, I've got a guy here, and they'll be saying, I've got a guy. But as Tam said, if you're a real manager, you want to see them in action. You want to see them. You can see their CV and everything they've done. You can watch videos. You know, I'm sure Tam could do top 20 goals. Mm-hmm. Could you, aye?
18 maybe.
18.
Yeah. What do you make of, I know he's at the noise up. What do you make of Michael Beale also saying that Alfredo Morelos and Al McGregor are unlikely to be at Rangers next season?
Well, he's obviously chats with Alan. We've already discussed that. The shout's Alan. You know, I'm sure Rangers would want him to be there, you know, about the place, you know, even his coaching capacity or something. But Alan's obviously either indicated that, no, that's it. I think it must be difficult when you've been at a club like Rangers all your life to walk away and go somewhere else. So I would worry where he would want to go to another club. I think if he's calling it with Rangers, I think that'll be it.
Okay, how do you see it going?
Rangers, I've got Rangers to win 2-1.
2-1.
I went Rangers 2-1 as well, but didn't know Kent and Golson were out. But that's my pick, 2-1.
Yeah. I've gone 1 each on this one. So
Maybe a tussle.
Aberdeen have just started to really show
You need to gamble now, but didn't you to try? You need to gamble now to try and bridge the gap.
I need to try and get to the point where I maybe have a 21 pointer, because if I sneak it at the end, as you know, there's nothing worse than me winning the competition, you know, Ruffy. It's not too much in it, Ruffy. You're catchable. You know?
Oh, easily catch
7 points ahead of me or something.
I'm only
Well, the
7.
other thing is he's 7 points ahead of you, but he'll always be 7 because he just keeps copying.
Oh,
you.
he's so irritating.
Yeah,
So irritating.
I'll tell you what.
There's now going to be some sort of time where everybody's got to put it in bang at a time.
Well, after the split, what's happening
It
is
goes in envelopes on a Friday.
no. After the split, we always then send the WhatsApp personally to Cheryl to take, so nobody knows who's predicting
picked
what. So that's a
you're
blow to
screwed.
you as well.
You're screwed,
isn't it?
Ruffy.
I'm quite happy with my predictions. I have
As long as
set plans.
As long as you don't finish. I know what your plan is. I know it. I see it every year. He's unbelievable. I mean, you can honestly, if you looked at his plan, you see it. He does not. He very rarely goes above 2-1.
Yeah,
that's his
There's
favourite
never a lot of goals in your
scoreline.
games. Or a comfortable 2-0.
I'll tell you, we'll wait till we see what's happening with you with St Mirren again. By the way, can I just say something to you? The amount of people are not happy with you when you said that Hibs would be taking 3,000 or 4,000 fans to that game. They don't believe you. The amount of people here say Tam's havering. You think there'll be about 3,000
Hibs will take minimum 3,000.
To McDermott Park?
Yes.
Yeah?
Minimum 3,000 Hibs will take to McDermott Park.
Okay.
And if they don't, I will do 10 press-ups live on the show on Monday.
Minimum 3,000.
3,000 Hibs fans will be at the game.
We'll need to move the cameras, Ruffy, and just shove
I'll do it on that. I'll do it on that. I'll do
that's
10 on that.
fantastic. That's
I'll do
fantastic.
10 on that if Hibs don't take 3,000.
Oh, this is fantastic. And of course, the other thing that people don't know now is because obviously the holiday season's coming up, you want to get to the beach. You've been working out, haven't you?
I have. I'm going to Murcia on golfing trip in 3 weeks, so
Yeah.
I want to be in decent nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You told the wife?
Yeah. Yeah, she's no, you told her.
You told me the dates.
I asked her 2 years ago.
St Mirren against Kilmarnock. If you were talking about games that I think will really be nail biting, St Mirren against Kilmarnock is up there. I think this is going to be a cracker. Sellout. I mean, you can't ask any more of the Buddies fans because, Ruffy, over the course of the season, they've basically at times said, look, we're not going to give 3 stands to Celtic or Rangers coming. We're going to say to the St Mirren fans, if you want to back us, back us. And more often than not, the St Mirren fans have stepped up to the plate. And I think Stephen Robinson, I beg your pardon, is well aware of the financial rewards of St Mirren in the top 6. And on a sunny day, there's nothing better than going to Paisley. So we sent our man Patrick Mullen out there. Oh, Kerry went to St Mirren. Patrick's raging he didn't get to go.
It's the weekend. Teams like St Mirren have been waiting for 3 points against Kilmarnock this weekend, and that guarantees them a place in the top 6. And with that comes a very appealing financial bonus, something that Stephen Robinson feels would elevate his side to the next level.
Yeah, like I've stated previously, it's been a tough season. It's been a real battle and scrap, and we're starting to come out the other end of it. And if we could make it into the top 6, you know, the financial aspect of the top 6 would be really helpful to this football club in terms of trying to put structures in place to be a top 6 side. You know, we haven't got that in place yet. You know, we're playing catch up with a lot of teams, but it would be a massive achievement, and you know, nothing but credit should be given to this group of players. A small group, but a dedicated group that have probably outperformed everybody's expectations this season, bar what we thought in the dressing room.
St Mirren goalkeeper Trevor Carson says despite the defeat last weekend to Rangers, if his side can show what they did last weekend this Saturday against Kilmarnock, then they'll be just fine.
It just shows how, you know, what a competitive team we are to, you know, go down twice at Ibrox and, you know, peg them back. So, you know, it's hard. You know, I was as disappointed as anyone at 5 o'clock on Saturday, but when you look back, there's so many positives we can take out of that. And, you know, and the gaffer's a genius at stuff like that, like turning things into positive. Come Monday, you know, the place was bouncing again. You know, he was able to, you know, we've done our analysis and the video, and, you know, he just showed how well we actually played. And, you know, I think if we take that same intensity and same, you know, performance into Saturday, I think, you know, you can't legislate for what Kilmarnock are going to do in the day, but I think, you know, we'll be okay.
Who will rise to the occasion and who will fall at the last hurdle this weekend? It's the final push for a place in the top 6.
Yeah, I can't believe I made a mistake between Kerry and Patrick there. And of course, I think while it's sunny, it's not sleeves off weather, is it? I thought it was still cold.
No, it certainly looks good from if you're in the car. It looks magnificent. As soon as you go, that's a cold wind.
That's freezing.
And we've already been told that it's going to change drastically over the weekend.
See, that's what you get on here. You get
That's
Ruffy giving you the
Ruffy.
weather as
Like
well.
Perth, I think it's snow in Perth
Yeah,
tomorrow.
for the 3,000 Hibs fans.
Yes, I would stay in the house if I was
absolutely.
you.
Did you say 10 press-ups?
I'll do 10 press-ups across here, live on the show on Monday. If Hibs don't take 3,000 at McDermott Park, they'll take it in a canter.
I hope a bus breaks down. It'll be fantastic. I'm only winding up. What about Kilmarnock? Well, listen, Derek McInnes desperately looking for Kelly to get all 3 points in this one, and Patrick Mullen was down there to get his thoughts.
I spoke to Derek McInnes this afternoon here at Rugby Park ahead of his side's trip to what will be a sold-out Smythe Stadium to take on St Mirren on Saturday. Despite 2 goalless draws already this season, McInnes believes his side have more than enough to take all 3 points.
Stevie's done a great job there. He inherited a good squad of players. Some were close on a couple of occasions to get in top 6, but he's managed to take that on, and it's we know the level of player that we're up against tomorrow, but also going back to what I said, it's a team that we know I feel we can win against if we bring a performance that we're capable of.
Kilmarnock is still without a win on the road this season, but with over 1,000 making the trip up to Paisley, McInnes wants to take this opportunity for his players to reward those travelling fans.
0-0 draws in the place is set out there. I think it's an indication really our fans have going to turn up in big numbers. It's not too far out the road. Traditionally, Kilmarnock going to St Mirren's always been there, and it's important that we try and reward that with a win.
Yeah, I'm desperately hoping that they can actually get a win, but I don't see it. I think St Mirren at home crowd. I got this feeling confident that St Mirren will win at 3-1, Ruffy. What do you make of that?
Well, I think St Mirren are the form side. Obviously, we've seen Kilmarnock getting thumped in the first 45 minutes last week against Celtic. It's okay, Derek saying, we're a lot better in the second half, but the damage was already done. I can't see them winning the game. I could maybe see them getting a draw, but I think St Mirren's form would just not make me do that. So I'm going to go St Mirren to win 2-1.
Oh, 2-1, that's an unusual score for you. They've only lost twice at home all season, St Mirren, and Kelly haven't actually managed a win away from home.
Yep, everything points, all the statistics point towards a home win. But I think a lot of us thought that last week when Dundee United went to Motherwell. So you never know in football. Kilmarnock again taking a big support up there. They're scrapping for points as well. But you're right. For St Mirren, they're the only team to beat Celtic. This season. To beat them at home was a great result. I think that shows you how strong they are at home. So I can't see anything other than a St Mirren win. I think I went for 2-1 as well, Peter.
2-1, okay. You can give us your thoughts on that. Sellout Smythe Stadium, it's absolutely magnificent. Let's hope they've got good weather there, and both sets of fans enjoy goals. That's what we want. We want to see goals, want to see excitement, nervy finish. And don't forget, Tam and I will be here in the studio bringing you the half-time and the full-time scores from the Scottish Premiership with our reporters at all the games on Saturday. So you're going to get reaction from the managers and the players as well to the nail-biting battle for the top 6. So join us if you can on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel for that, and hit the subscribe button. And if you are on the PLZ Soccer app, you can watch it on your phone, your tablet or your PC as well. Thanks to everyone. David Gemmell thinks 2-0 to St Mirren on the grass. That's what we like. We like to see football played on the grass. What about Dundee United against Livingston United? 10th, 28 points. They're ahead of Kelly on goal difference. This could be this moment where maybe United want to put a marker down that the fight back, the back-to-back wins. This is a momentum to take them away from the bottom end of the Scottish Premiership. Jim Goodwin knows that one result, one defeat could flip it all again.
We haven't done anything yet. We have put ourselves in a good position to avoid relegation, but at the same time, I've been in the game long enough to know that one bad fixture in our way, one bad result in our favour, and a positive result in the teams below us favour, then it can all flip on its head again. So,
yeah, United, fair play to him. He's got something out of them.
Yeah, and he's got a couple of wee breaks as well. He's had a couple of penalties in the couple of games he's had that have got them to win the games, so if you've got that going for you, the players will be on a high. I think the Livy have had a couple of good results that I can remember up in Tannadice, but I don't think it'll be tomorrow. I think they've went off the boil a wee bit. I mentioned during the week, I thought it was the players. It wasn't the reason they're not playing well. When players have got in the back of their mind, I'm not going to be here next year. I'm not saying they would. I'm not saying down tools or anything like that. I'm just saying it's in the back of their mind. I want to keep the team I'm playing with in the top 6, but at the end of the day, it's not the be-all and end-all because I'm not going to be here. And so that's why I think that they aren't playing particularly well just now.
Yeah, Livingston, it's just collapsed for them at the time when David Martindale just wanted 1 or 2 results to go his way. 6 defeats, 2 wins, 1 draw. All right, they won against St Johnstone last week, which gives them just a glimmer of hope, but it's fairly straightforward here. They've got to win and rely on maybe St Mirren losing and Hibs to lose or draw to get them into the top 6, and it's a big ask.
Yeah, it's a big ask. You know, if Livingston were coming into the game in great form, you know, we're on a wins, you'd maybe go, I'd fancy Livingston to go up there and win, but just not the way they're playing at the minute. I think Dundee United looks strong. I said, we were talking to Rafael earlier, I think that the momentum for that goal against Hibs, you know, we were in the studio and they went 5 points adrift at the bottom. That was the biggest gap that's ever been all season. And they played Hibs the next day and they got a massive 3 points and they won again last week. So I think Jim's absolutely right. You know, somebody that's been down there myself, you can't get ahead of yourself. They're still firmly in the mire. You know, you've got to take each game as it comes and just try and keep building and getting yourself away, because the minute you think you're safe and you don't need to, you know, win games and you're relying on other people, then you're going to come a cropper. So, but I'd fancy Dundee United in this game strongly. Actually, I think they've got confidence now. They've got Stephen Fletcher up front. I think he's a terrific player still. Jamie McGrath starting to score goals as well, so I think I've went for 2-1 to Dundee United.
Yeah, okay. As far as Livingston are concerned, with the sacking of Callum Davison, it's hard to believe it, but David Martindale, longest serving manager in the division, and here's how he views that particular stat.
I think it's more a negative than a positive, if I'm honest. That I'm now sitting here the longest serving manager in the Premier League. I think it's instant success is craved now. Social media plays a huge part in that. I was speaking about it with the staff earlier on, saying, look, who really wants to become a manager these days? Because there's a very, very good chance you're going to be out of a job through success or failure. Probably failure.
It's a great way. It's a great way to look at it, isn't it? But I mean, listen, I know he's going to look at it internally as maybe failure if they don't get top 6, given some of the results and the scalps they've taken along the way. I still think with his budget, he deserves a mention in, for his achievements as a manager.
No, I think his bosses would agree with you 100%. I would like to think the supporters that they have got would agree with it as well. And your season ticket you're buying, you've been given value for money. If you got into the top 6, it would be fantastic. But if you haven't, as long as you're not getting out of the division or not, in any danger, then it's a happy ending to the season.
Yeah, okay. Of course, he's well aware that at the end of that season he could lose some players. He knows Nicky Devlin will be heading out the door. It looks as if Hearts, with the likes of Motherwell, St Mirren in the running, Bristol City, another club, being linked with Nicky Devlin. So they're all hovering now, looking at players who are out of contract.
Yep, and I think he would do a job for most of those teams. I look at Hearts, Michael Smith's been poor this season. I think he's come to the end of his career. I think he's slotting in that Hearts team at right back, no problem at all. He's at peak of his career, he can get forward, he's quick, strong. Aberdeen as well. So listen, I think he's certainly going to leave Livingston and step up, whether that's in this division or maybe that's in the even League One in England. He goes to League One in England and he gets 5-6 times his money he's on Livingston. So I know he's been down at Walsall before. So listen, he's done really well at Livingston, but I think the time's come for him. To look after his family. He's got a young family as well, and he wants to go and try and secure as big a deal as he can.
Hearts at home to Ross County. The fans will be demanding a performance. Robbie Nielsen's gone. Stevie Naismith obviously has witnessed Hibs winning the Edinburgh Derby. They're looking for them to bounce back. I think all that excitement of being the third force has now quickly completely and utterly disappeared, because Aberdeen look as if they're in the box seat now. Naismith has to try and put all the troubles behind him and get something out of this Hearts side. Yeah,
I think Hearts need to win. They need to win tomorrow, and they need to hope the Rangers beat Aberdeen, to get them back in the running, But the disappointment of last week will be a hard one to shift. He'll have to do, Stephen Nathan will have to do a lot of work with him during the week to get the confidence back in, because when you're in the losing end of a derby game, some players, take a wee while to recover. I do think they will recover. I think Ross County will give them a right battle, because they are battling for their lives. But I still think Hearts with the home advantage have to turn the tide sometime, and I think it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, he got a bit of criticism. He's just in the door as the manager to the end of the season, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, wait a minute." 1 minute he says third is not as important; it's just winning the next game, and now we've got to finish third. He's had somebody's had a wee word with him, but Stevie Naismith just needs to concentrate on trying to put all his coaching nous and his experience into it, phone a few mates that used to be his manager to ask for a little bit of help and advice, and off you go.
Yeah, listen, he's been thrown into a situation that he's not used to. He's obviously been a player, he's been coaching with the B team, but he's in the spotlight now. And as we know, everything you say as a manager gets picked up by the media or fans, social media, everything's picked up now. And I think after the game he was just trying to keep it one game at a time. I think it didn't come across that way what he said. As if third place was a bit flippant, or third place doesn't matter. Third place means everything to Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts. Because you're all but guaranteed that money in the conference group stage. You're guaranteed European football. At Christmas. So. It's absolutely massive. If Hibs win and Hearts win and Rangers beat Aberdeen, you're going to have a situation, even St Mirren, they're at home to Kilmarnock, they're going to have a situation where it's going to be incredibly tight between 3 or 4 teams, going for that third place, and the money that comes with that is absolutely massive. Imagine St Mirren finished third. They are on their knees financially a wee bit at the minute as well, so the riches at stake means that brings added pressure, and Aberdeen, I think they've been able just to sail through with no pressure, but now the pressure's on Aberdeen now, because a lot of people are thinking they've got third tied up, which I don't think they have, and I still think there's a wee bit of running to go, but now the pressure's on Aberdeen because they're sitting there.
Yep, so Hearts against Ross County. I think Stevie Naismith at the press conference certainly is not going to take Ross County lightly just because they happen to be bottom of the table.
Way by far. I know they're down fighting for their lives at the bottom of the league, but defensively they're not a bad team. They've got players that understand their role and they defend well, and they carry a threat going forward, so we can't underestimate it. I think on paper it looks as if, you're playing against bottom of the league, but the league's that tight that they've got some real strengths that we need to make sure that we kind of contain and then cause them the problems we feel we can.
I've got Hearts to win 2-0, Ruffy.
So I'm 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
I think I went for 2-1.
Yeah, okay. Here's how it looks across the Scottish Premiership over the weekend. Give us your views on what you think is going to happen. Hearts, Ross County, Celtic against Motherwell, and Dundee United take on Livingston, St Johnston against Hibs, St Mirren against Kilmarnock, and Aberdeen against Rangers on the Sunday. And let's not forget, Hearts against Ross County is the early kick-off on the Saturday. Our reporter Kerry Pollock will be there, and of course our reporters will be right across all the other Scottish Premiership matches right across the weekend. So on our social media, you can follow us Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and let's not forget Facebook, and on the YouTube channel. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll be part of the football family, and we're delighted that you are following and consuming our content in great numbers. Thank you to each and every one of you for your support right throughout this season. It's certainly been an enjoyable one, and we've got big plans coming up for the summer as well, Ruffy.
Yeah, you certainly have. Lots of guests. I think a lot of the people like the guests. I like the guests coming in. There's not many times you get now guests on a show. I mean, terrestrial TV or whatever.
Yeah.
So and there's a lot of big things coming up. Obviously, Aberdeen coming up. We've got the cup finals, and it'll be great.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Of course, we get a chance to look over Europe as well. Wouldn't it be great if we were all talking about Scottish clubs in European competition this late into the year? But I was watching last night with behind the couch, looking and thinking to myself, how does Harry Maguire pick himself up at all? When you look at the Europa League results, Manchester United out of the Europa League because I think they blew it at Old Trafford and suddenly it was 2-2. They go to Spain and lose 3-0. David De Gea with a nonsensical pass to Harry Maguire. They're in all sorts of trouble, and then De Gea chipped in himself coming out and making a complete back end of a clearance, and Seville knocked them out.
Yeah, they did. I think you're totally right. I think that the first leg 2-0 up, they should have killed the game off. You get the next goal 3-0 at home. You're cruising away from home. I think Seville obviously took great confidence from the 2 late goals that they got, and I didn't see the game, but by all accounts he deserved to win. But Sevilla, they're a massive cup team. They're a massive Europa League team. You know, they're very difficult to beat. They're struggling in the league domestically.
Trying to win this for the 7th time.
They are, and
That's
it's
mental,
usually
isn't it?
Unai Emery's the manager. But no, I just think they've just got this name in the Europa League. Are just a marriage made in heaven. And I don't think they're favourites, you know, but who would put it past them to win it again? And there's some decent teams still in that. You know, Roma in there with Jose Mourinho, who won the Conference League last year. And Jose had been written off by a lot of people after leaving Man United. He's went to Roma, done really well with them. And it could be the renaissance of the special one as well there.
Yeah, of course, Ten Hag. He would be holding his and scratching his hair and his head, roughly, if he had any. But I think with Harry Maguire at the back, it's better that he just keeps shaving his head.
That we have to be better. And it's not about playing skills. No, it is about character. And so be composed and desire and passion. And they had more willingness to win, and it can't be. And I think it's unacceptable.
Well, I think there's going to be a clear out of a few players there as well. And I think the centre half, no harm to the boy, is just not cutting it.
No, we've spoke about him most of the year. I think he did reasonably well at the championships there with England, but we always know there's something hanging about. I always think if there's going to be a bad goal lost, he's in the vicinity. And De Gea, I've never been a big fan of him. There was a time when they were talking about he was going to be the Real Madrid goalkeeper. I never thought he was anywhere near that. But and he's another one that comes up with a clanger now and again. So yeah, I think they will. You know, I'm sure he'll identify. I would think he'll identify the players that he wants to bring in, the players he wants to leave, and I think Maguire will be one of them.
Yeah, and well done to David Moyes. A Scot doing well with West Ham. Can he get them away from relegation? Can he win them the Europa Conference League, getting to the semi-final? Good going.
By the way, I'm a huge football man. I watch football, always have done all my life. And I don't know if I could think back to when West Ham maybe had back-to-back European football semi-finals. Maybe they have, maybe somebody would correct me and tell me there was times. But I'm saying to myself, as 2 semi-finals of European competition, great credit to the players. They've done a brilliant job.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. I think the Hammers won the European Cup Winners' Cup in about 66.
Yeah.
But that is great going.
But do you know the worrying thing about it, that start there, would it save him if they get relegated with the owners that he's got?
No.
I don't think so either.
They could win it and get relegated and they get sacked.
Yeah.
No, I think you get a wee bit of reprieve if he wins.
If West Ham get relegated, he's getting sacked.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, it's an interesting one. Nevertheless,
I think they'll go down, but I think they'll stay up.
So do I. I hope they stay up. But listen, good luck to them. It was a good performance last night from West Ham to get that win. Ruffy, I'm looking at the Scottish Premiership, where we're going to be keeping our eyes on that. But of course, let's not forget that championship is really hotting up, isn't it? I mean, Arbroath against Cove Rangers, Aki's against your boys Partick Thistle, Inverness against Dundee, and Greenock Morton against Raith Rovers as well. And let's not forget, it's Ayr United Queen's Park tonight.
Ayr United Queen's Park tonight, yep. Queen's Park aren't fulfilling the form that they were for a wee while there. Ayr United is always a difficult place to go to. I think they've got a good squad now, but it's for me it's Dundee to let it go. But I didn't know Dundee such hard running. I didn't know they were up at Inverness, and I've said to you, Inverness all along, on a run will cause people problems, you know. So very cutthroat, but you have to keep winning your games. And if you certainly, some of the teams will just want to be in the playoffs, but some of them will have ambitions to be in the Premier League.
So Dundee to blow it in your mind?
Well, they've got Queen's Park away in the last game. They've got Inverness up at Inverness. Cove is the one. The Cove is the one you've got to say that's 3 points, so that would put them 6 points of clear everybody else. So it depends on what they do with the other 2 games.
Yeah, I think Dundee are going to win it.
Dundee win the next 2 games. The Queen's Park games are relevant. They'll win the league by then, even 4 points possibly. But but I don't see. I think Queen's Park they've got Morton away, Ayr United away and Morton away. You know, in the next 2 games. And then Dundee at home, they've got a horrible run. And Inverness have just left it too late. Ruffy's right, they've just left that run just maybe a game or 2 too late. But if Dundee can go up tomorrow and get a result in Inverness, then they're big favourites.
Yeah, and of course in League One, Airdrieonians against the champions Dunfermline. It was good to see James McPake, and I'm absolutely delighted for him that he's got a chance to go back now as a manager, and building a team for the Championship.
Yeah, I think we all thought he got a raw deal up at Dundee, and it was good that he got a club like Dunfermline. I think they're a fantastic club, well-backed club. Support-wise, they're up there. If you get a winning team at Dunfermline, you'll get the support to go along with that, and it was great to see the celebrations last week.
Yep, and Falkirk. They've got it all to do, Tam. They've got to do something in this match away to Alloa.
I said the other day that they're in a kind of twilight zone at the minute. They're in the playoffs. I think they'll probably get second tied up, and they're in the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup. So these games that they're playing now, as the players want to really get injured, they're maybe looking ahead to bigger games, playoffs, the semi-final. But it's no ideal going into it in poor form. You've got to try and get into the games with momentum. And Alloa's the one that's not been mentioned all season, Brian Rice, and it could be Brian Rice up against his old team in the playoffs, Hamilton Accies. So there's a lot of and Falkirk, he was a coach as well. So no, I think the playoffs in particular have been a tremendous addition. Unfortunately, they weren't there when I was there. And so they had to bring them in because there was teams who were out of contention, and their season was finished in February, March. So now everybody's got something to play for.
Okay, and of course in the second division, Ruffy, Stirling Albion just running away with it.
Yeah, it was Dumbarton for a long, long time there. Stevie Farrell down there was doing a tremendous job, but wheels have come off the wagon there. But he obviously try and get a playoff place and still have a chance to get up.
Here's a look at the English Premier League fixtures over the weekend. We've been watching it and wondering, are Arsenal going to blow it? And they're doing a fantastic job of blowing it. They're at home to Southampton. They've got to win that one before they get to Wednesday at the Etihad to take on Manchester City. Saturday it's Fulham against Leeds United, Crystal Palace, Everton. Everton need to start finding results. Liverpool against Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Aston Villa, Leicester City against Wolves. And then on the Sunday, Newcastle, Tottenham and Bournemouth against West Ham. Let's not forget also FA Cup semi-finals, Ruffy. Man City against Sheffield United, Brighton against Manchester United. Are we ready for the Manc derby in the final?
Brighton have done absolutely tremendous, haven't they? I can see, at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't imagine where they are at this stage of the season. So that for me, they're the sort of a smaller team that's done particularly well this year.
Yeah. I think that's a Stonewall Saturday this weekend. Somebody's going to interview Gordon Smith, aren't they?
Gordon was down there.
He was doing a couple of gigs at it, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Listen, there is also up here something very special to look forward to, because of course it's the Women's Scottish Cup semi-finals and they're being played at Hampden, which is fantastic, and our reporter Kerry Pollock has been following both camps for the Saturday and the Sunday.
National Stadium this afternoon. All four semi-finalists of the Women's Scottish Cup are looking ahead to their fixtures taking place here at the National Stadium this weekend. Motherwell will face off against Rangers, and despite not being a full-time team, the Motherwell boss Paul Brownlie says his side certainly hold themselves to that standard.
In the past, when I walked in the door, one of the first questions I asked the group was, what does the rest of the league think of you? And that was important to me, to get a gauge of where they were at in terms of their mindset. And I think if I'd asked them the same question now, it'd be completely different. I think they're a team that people take serious. I think they're a team that can compete, and hopefully we can show that on Saturday.
Despite winning the last 12 meetings between the two, Rangers boss Malky Thompson says it's about more than just showing up for his side on Saturday.
I think momentum, whether it's Motherwell or whatever it is, as long as we are performing at a level, and we don't have a God-given right to win every game. We can't just turn up and say that we've won the last 12 games, as you've said there. We must make sure that we're planned and we're prepared and we're calculated in what we're doing and how we're going to go about it, and that there's a buy-in from the players, the staff.
On Sunday, Celtic will face off against Glasgow City here at Hampden Park, and the captain Kelly Clark says even though they know they'll have a target on their backs being the holders of the cup, they're treating this no differently to any other time they've come up against City.
The biggest motivation is that craving to lift the trophy again, because it's the best feeling that you can have as a footballer. And yeah, the target on our back, the craving of the same emotion that you felt last year obviously does make it a little bit more important, but I will try and play it down, because I would rather the girls just focused on the job, and I think we did that really well last year. We played with a calm in all of the big games last year. It's the reason that we won the 2 trophies.
Glasgow City manager Leanne Ross says what an honour it will be to lead out her side here at Hampden Park in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup.
a lot of investment in my life within this club. So for me to be the manager and to step out at Hampden in the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup is massive. But I guess that would be the same for anybody, just getting the opportunity to represent the club that they support and that they love at the National Stadium.
It's Rangers against Motherwell on Saturday and Celtic will take on Glasgow City on Sunday. But who will make it to that all-important final? Both games kick off at 12:30.
Who's your money on, Ruffy?
My money will be on the Glasgow City Celtic game, whoever wins that, because I think they are the teams in form. Motherwell, I'm surprised Motherwell are there. They haven't had a great season, so I can't see them beating me. I really can't, so I'm going to go, it'll be a Rangers versus Celtic final.
Tom?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah?
I'd agree with that. I think that they're very, very close in the league. It was I think it was a big result during the week there for Rangers that beat Glasgow City, and Glasgow City seem to have blown a wee bit of a lead, so I don't think there's anything amongst the top three in that league, so great, fair play to Motherwell for getting there, by the way. They're not one of the bigger clubs and bigger budgets, but I'll go for Celtic Rangers final.
What a weekend of football to look forward to. Kerry will be with Tam and Ruffy for the Saturday morning preview at 9 o'clock on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and let's not forget at 4 o'clock Tam's doing a wee moonlighting out on Tam Cowan's show as well.
He's throwing himself out there.
He's obviously throwing himself to say, can I go back to the BBC?
That's good that we've let all the supporters having a go at him where he'll be.
Maybe they'll get in touch because it's got 1 million views the other day and I'm back on track.
Maybe.
There's not many people get 1 million views on their social media, Ruffy. Social media is
900,000 of them like you.
To be fair, by the way, Ruffy,
they'll hate me, but
I think he'll get another 1 million if he has to do 10 press-ups on this couch on Monday.
Your pants.
That'll be fantastic, by the way.
Get my pants.
Brilliant. This is magnificent. It's growing arms and legs. I can't wait for it.
3,000 Hibs fans at McDermott Park. There'll be more Hibs fans than at St Johnstone.
Can I just say something? Don't be giving me any kind of a stat from the Edinburgh Evening News. We will look at the official figures. Okay. I'll be phoning St Johnstone to make sure if there's under 3,000, you'll be midway through your 10 press-ups here on Monday, not to be missed.
Just to remind the Hibs supporters, the roadworks at the Broxburn Roundabout.
Brilliant, absolutely. Join us if you can. Tam and I will be here in the studio at 4 o'clock on Saturday, half-time, full-time, and of course reaction from managers and players. Where else do you get that blanket coverage of Scottish football? And of course we'll look further afield. If you download the PLZ Soccer app, you'll get all the breaking football news, not only from the UK but European football and the world issues as well. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. What about the quiz? We put the quiz to you at the top of the programme. Ruffy, you were in fine form because Benzema has actually got 90 goals. Wow. He's in 4th position. He's one behind. Somebody
before him.
Somebody's ahead of him.
Older than him.
Well, who is the 3rd top goal scorer in Champions League history? It is, of course, Robert Lewandowski.
I forgot about him.
91 goals. So, in the next couple of weeks, Ruffy, Benzema could be the 3rd top goal scorer.
Just a week, a couple of weeks too early with it.
A couple of weeks too early with it, but I thought I'd throw it in there. Anyway, thank you very much to so many of you for showing your support. Hit the subscribe button if you can. It's not just about the football show. There's so much more on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, as well as all the stories and managers' interviews and player interviews. We've got some great content with, of course, David Martindale, the My Story. You've got James McPake. You can see some of his thoughts on Dunfermline for next season. You've got Alex McLeish talking about Gothenburg, the 40th anniversary. You've also got John McMaster on there. There's lots more one-to-ones, and there's a cracker coming next week that I think you're going to enjoy as well. So, from Ruffy, from Tam and myself, Peter Martin, join Kerry tomorrow at 9 o'clock on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4. Thanks for watching.
One high bees.